To Mark Yancey, Republican candidate for the U.S. Senate, and that seat's currently held by John Cornyn. Good to see you.
Thank you very much for having me. Good morning.
What is it that makes someone like you decide that I'm going to run for U.S. Senate?
Well, you know, I'm 62 years old, been in the private sector for 33 years, and I believe that Texas deserves better than what they have. We need to get back to our conservative roots. You know, Texas is a very red state, 254 counties, and I intend to do that. I believe, you know, I didn't come here to bash Cornyn, but I think Senator Cornyn is served Texas well early on. He's been in public office for almost 40 years. I think he started off, you know, doing some very good things, but he's lost a step. So
when you look at that and you decide, okay, I would think it'd have to be something, there's a tipping point somewhere or another that says, okay, I need to run. What was it that Senator Cornyn has done or not done that made you decide to take that step?
There's a thing called the Liberty Score, where he votes 67% of the time for Democratic causes, and 33% of the time he votes for what we define as conservative causes. So that's not what the people in 2001, when they elected Senator Cornyn in office, he started in 2002. That's not what they voted for. So I'm not a you know, just to be clear, I'm a person that likes to bring people together. I don't point my finger at Democrats and say they're wrong and bifurcate them down the middle and say that, you know, you're wrong, Democrat, and you're wrong, Republican. You know, we all have good ideas. We all have to talk, right? But Senator Cornyn has, over the years, demonstrated. This is not my poll, by the way. This is Liberty Score. Any of your viewers can pull this up and look at this. And so he's moving wrong. Any spending bill that comes along in the last, particularly in the last 10 years, without him knowing what he's voting for, he rubber stamps it and pushes it on there. We've got $24 trillion in national debt. He just rubber stamps it and stacks up debt.
Well, now that brings me to what's going on at the top of the administration, which is responsible for kind of turning out some of these bills. They want the money and that sort of thing. So what are your thoughts about the leadership in that regard, President Trump? Would you be more of a help to him than you think than Cornyn has been? I mean, what kind of supporter are you of his policies?
Well, again, I didn't come here to bash Cornyn, but Cornyn has a very clever way of indicating that he's a supporter of Trump, and he's really not. He has a very clever way of indicating he's a supporter of the wall, and he's really not. Look, the issue with the budget, the situation we have today, is that we're going to spend in this fiscal year close to $1 trillion on military. So our budget is so archaic. There's no developed country in the world that would emulate our budget. It's divided into two pieces: the mandatory piece and the discretionary piece. The discretionary piece, the biggest component, is military. This year, President Trump will spend almost $1 trillion. That number has generally been about $700 billion with the exception of the Cold War with Reagan and the Reagan administration, where we had an arms race. So, you know, that's blowing our. That's why we're running $1 trillion deficits.
So, but Republicans have kind of been in lockstep with the president on that kind of stuff, have they not? And then if that's the case, then would that kind of fly in the face of, you're saying if you're not voting with Republicans, maybe that's not a good thing. But in this case, that used to be a Republican standpoint. You know, we're not going to, the budget is not going to be the deficit. That used to be a Republican stronghold. Now it's not. What can you do to change that?
So if you look at total expenditures, to keep the math simple, let's say it's $5 trillion on an annual basis.
Right.
Let's go back and look at a couple of things. One is that 40% of the mandatory part of our budget, which is growing at 1.2 times the size of the discretionary budget. So 60% of that $5 trillion, if we're going to use that number, is growing at 1.2 times. $40 billion of that is used for illegal immigrants that are in this country illegally. They have committed a crime. And we are taxpayers, you and I, working people, that are paying for that. Let's look at the fraud and abuse component of the mandatory side of the budget, and let's start there. Okay, so you got Medicare fraud, which is estimated to be somewhere between $500 and $700 billion just on Medicare alone.
Right.
You got Medicaid, you got VA, all these things. So you got enormous places you can look. I was talking to a sitting congressman this morning that said, Mark, we don't have the resources to run this down. But he said, you know who does have that? I'm not going to mention the insurance company, but he says one of the insurance companies that does most of the Medicare, they have those numbers.
All right, you run into somebody in the airport, you don't have much time. What do you tell them to your pitch to get them to vote for you and unseat John Cornyn?
We need to get back to conservative values in the state of Texas. Texas is the red of red states. We need to keep the Senate seat red. I'm all for term limits. We need to rotate people in and out of Congress. They need to move on. They cannot make Congress their second home. That's what's happened not only to Mr. Cornyn, but 20 others there. Number second, anything that's unconstitutional, abolish it. The Department of Education comes to mind. That's a complete waste of taxpayer money that you and I are paying for and all your listeners are paying for. We're spending $70 to $100 million on the Department of Education, and if you have children, it's absolutely doing nothing for the outcome of the benefit of your kids in school.
Mr. Yancey, thank you so much. It's an uphill battle for you. I'm sure you know that, but good luck. And thank you for wanting to put your name out there and be a public servant on behalf of all of us.
Thank you for your time, sir.
Appreciate you so much.